Hey everyone, Once Bitten here with another battle report. So I brought out my Beastmen against the Bretonnian army that was highlighted in a video a couple weeks ago, the Heartless army. 2,000 points pitched battle. The whole point of this game really was to test out a couple rules. The first of which, what if men-at-arms are weapon skill 3, which Mobius Primal, who owns this army, and I both kind of think should be the case. And what would happen if Lance Formation gave devastating charge. So we thought we would give it a go, and to try something else new out, Mobius Primal, or MP from now on, is here with me to do a dual commentator battle report.
Hey everybody.
So we'll start off with Ben going through his lineup.
Okay, this is my army on the left flank. And then here in the center is this is the core of my army where all the infantry is. That middle unit, that's actually the honor guard or the Grail Relic unit. And then the significant character back there is the BSB. She's going to be granting the rollable leadership 9 to every peasant within 12 inches of her. And my last fast cavalry unit on the right flank.
So facing on the far right, of course, I have a chariot. I decided to change my list up and go with large units. So I have a horde of Gore with my War Gore with the Beast Banner. So if these guys get in combat, at least they'll be strength 4, and if I can just keep that guy alive. Then I have really the obligatory Herdstone. Got level 4, 2 level 1s, and I'm following the advice of some people from comments where I gave the level 4 the Lore of Beasts and the level 1s the Lore of Shadow. And I'll just say in advance, I like that a lot better. I did like the Skull of Rakos on my level 4, so it gives all casters within 6 inches +1 to cast. So that was very nice. I have some Gore. It's a relatively small unit. It's all I had points for, and they're available for my spellcasters to hide in should they need to. On the left, I have a horde of Bestigor. In front of them is a Razor Gore. You notice I do not have a Lord level fighty character. Just did without him this game. And on my far left is a chariot. So we go to Beast turn 1. I move up. And there I move up on the left, and it's at Brett's turn 1. So I'll let MP talk.
Okay, so what this move here on the left-hand side with the fast cavalry, I kind of like this move because it showcases the use of fast cavalry. Basically, when his chariot charges the fast cavalry, he'll kill him, and then if he overruns, he probably is not going to get out of the range of my knights, and he needs that chariot to kind of play safety for the big Bestigor unit in the middle there. So it kind of puts that chariot in a do-or-die situation. He needs to hit, kill, and overrun a super large amount, and then you can't really see it from the picture, but they're angled that if he does overrun, he's going to run into water, which is not a good place for chariots to be. Beyond that, my infantry just basically move up so I can maybe pull some flank charges later on. And then on the right hand side, I pull the same little move here with my other fast cavalry unit. What this one's going to do is these guys are parked right in front of that big Gore horde. That's fun to say, by the way, Gore horde. And so if they charge, that's actually a flank charge. So they're going to spin all the way around. They're not going to just bump in the front, and that's not a front charge. They're going to spin all the way around. So when they kill them, they're going to be exposing their flank to my nearby men-at-arms unit that you can see up in the corner there, or they're going to have to reform, in which case that guarantees me the charge, so I don't have to need a 9 or a 10 on 2 dice. What OB's got is that other chariot that plays safety, so what he can do is kill that fast cavalry with the chariot unit, but still I've effectively held up that Gore unit because they don't move until after combat, so they're kind of stuck there for a turn, which can break up his battle line. That's one of the great uses of fast cavalry in 8th edition.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt, really.
This is a shot of a masterful trebuchet hit that I think claimed the lives of 3 or 4 Bestigors. Actually, I think this was a full block, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 guys maybe?
Yeah, it was 6 guys, which overall I'm okay with that. It always seems like it could be a lot worse. Alright, so Beast turn 2, I actually have to back up my Bestigor because I had to back him up and then, I did a reform and then backed him up because he has too many options available to me. I really kind of need to get the safety unit for my spellcasters. Need to get them up there so they can maybe hold up one of his units. But as it is, he's got all those guys staring down my Bestigors. Here on the left, I go ahead and charge my chariot into his fast cav. On the right, I take the chariot in, and I had this brilliant idea that I would just reform my my gore unit as you can see it, which in hindsight was just stupid. I should have just kept him in horde and just let him wait it out. Now, if you look at the top left, my Razor Gore kind of scooted through the lines between his men-at-arms and his Grower Leak, looking at the trebuchet to get it off the table. And after combat, I believe I killed all the fast cav and then just reformed. So my thinking was, if his knights charge the Tuscarora chariot, then I'll flee, and hopefully it'll be a failed charge for him. But you know, whatever. Here on the right, I beat this fast cav unit in combat and then ran him down, so at least they're off the table. And we go to Brett's turn 2.
Okay, so I move my left-hand men-at-arm unit and the relic up, and what I'm thinking he's going to do is charge me in the front with that big horde of Bestigor into my stubborn unit, get stuck there, and then be basically vulnerable to all the counter charges that I can pull with my knights and my other men-at-arms unit. And then up there where the Razor Gore was threatening my trebuchet, I pulled the old sneaky move and just did a reform and basically drew a big line that's going to be steadfast no matter. I mean, the Razor Gore has 4 attacks and a stomp, so even if he hits and wounds every single time, he's not going to be able to break my steadfast. And my BSB, the critical unit there, is right next to him, so their leadership 9 rerollable on steadfast. So that's a pretty good clutch play to protect that war machine. So over here, I did declare a charge on the chariot, and it fled, but he didn't flee too terribly far, and because I have the Banner of Swiftiness, I figured, I'll go ahead with the charge. I think I rolled 11 or 12, so I hit him, killed the trebuchet or the chariot, and then reformed to threaten the flank of the Bestigor.
Yeah, I thought that kind of sucked, by the way.
Yeah, so yeah, I have him in a nice surround where he's going to have to charge or reform, and he's going to expose his flank or rear to one of the units that I've got there in his face.
Let's see. This is Brett's turn 2. Oh, this is trebuchet.
Yeah, this was a great shot where I think I hit smack dab, covered 6 or 7 guys because you're on larger bases, and then I rolled a slew of 1s and 2s, needing 3s to wound. So I think I got 1 unpainted gore there. They look like the little muscle men.
Yeah, well, it's nice to see other people rolling all 1s. So there's really just a close-up shot of him blocking my Razor Gore shot to his trebuchet. And we go to Beastmen turn 3. So now one thing that's playing in the background too is my level 4 has the Amber Spear, and pretty much every magic phase I'm very, very, very willing to throw 6 dice at it to try to put a strength 10 spear through his general's unit. But it never went off, or if it did, he was able to dispel it every time. Anyway, so front left, my Bestigors charge his men-at-arms. I know he's going to be steadfast. I just really didn't see any other option there. And then yeah, here we go. So this is just a major gaffe on my part. So during the magic phase, we get to a point where MP has he has 2 dice left. He just cast the Hex. What's that called?
That's the Curse of Honor here.
Yeah, there you go. So I was thinking when he got it, I needed to roll a 6 to dispel it. And so I grabbed 2 dice, and the whole time he's like, OB, you really need to take 3 dice to dispel that just in case. And I was thinking, -1 to hit, I'll probably be re-rolling to hit. I'm not really worried about it. So I just threw 2 dice at it, and I failed. And so when my turn came, I said, well, I'm charging them with the flank. And he pointed out that I have to take a dangerous terrain no matter what the terrain is, failing on a 1 or 2. And then he was, he only made me take it once, but we both agreed that probably should have taken 2 dangerous terrain tests because we were in force and then we were on open terrain, and the Hex says that all terrain is dangerous. But I failed half of them.
Yeah, and I'm kind of curious on what most of the internet says about that, because do you treat the whole table as one great big piece of dangerous terrain, or do you treat each individual piece? So open ground is a piece of terrain, so that's suddenly dangerous terrain, and then woods is dangerous terrain all of a sudden, and then if there's a fence in the way, so if you cross over woods, fence, and open ground, do you take 3 or you just take 1 because everything is just blanketed dangerous terrain? I'm kind of curious if there's a fact, or if anyone has ever thought about that before. So
Yeah, that would be nice to know, because that curse is all of a sudden very, very,
that
very
curse is
valuable.
really good to begin with. So I mean, it's got a low casting cost and a huge range and a great effect in the game. So
Yeah, yeah, it is. So anyway, that's kind of what it looks like. And is that before combat?
yeah, that's the clearest picture in this whole slideshow,
Shut up.
and it is.
Anyway, so then I charged the Razor Gore and the Chariot into these guys. I know they're going to be steadfast, but I'm thinking, you know what? You never know what might happen. I should win it. I think it's going to be tough for him to wound me. So I thought I'd just give it a go. And then during the magic phase, luckily I got the hex off the Lore of Shadow to reduce the weapon skill of the knights by 3. So they're now weapon skill 1, which is now really nice. Now I'm not really afraid of him charging into the rear of my Bestigors, because he'll be hitting on 5s. Now remember, we're playing that these guys have devastating charge, and so every knight on the outside is going to get 2 attacks each, and that is a metric shit ton of strength 5 attacks.
And you said a bad word.
So we go to Brett's turn 3.
Okay, so it looks like the Gore are charging in the flank of my knights, but that's not the case. I had several options for these guys, and I figured it was the easiest charge range to make, and I would just surround that Gore unit and got them right where I want them. And then that big flank of men-at-arms up there, that's actually where I broke the Chariot. You didn't have a picture for that, but I whopped the, what is it, a Razor Gore?
Killed the Razor Gore.
Yeah, before he could even attack with all my weapon skill 3, remember, strength 4 attacks, and then the Chariot fled in terror from all those nasty peasants. So I have those Gores completely surrounded.
Yeah, that turned out being an epic fail on my part. When I charged in, I didn't think that if he won and broke me in combat, he could pursue and bring him that much closer to the main combat. So that was really an epic fail.
Yeah, and I'm thinking, even at weapon skill 1 with all those knights, they do have devastating charge, and I do have a slew of attacks aside from those guys that can deal a lot of damage to this Gore unit. And there's not a whole lot of guys there anyway. I might get another curse off on him, who knows. So I'm thinking right now, I'm going to break that unit in the center, and then everything's going to turn and face everything that I need to kill next round.
Yeah, and at this point, I mean, both of us were thinking, I mean, that's just the game. I mean, even if he doesn't do a lot of wounds with his knights, he's got to break my unit. He could chase it with one unit, pursue him with 1 unit of men-at-arms, and just, it's done. So what happened, because he knew he had the game so easily won, is when it came time for combat, he wanted to save the fight in the middle to be his big coup de grace.
Yeah, big bonehead move.
Yeah, so he said, well, let's fight the Bestigor unit fight first. So if you look at it, it doesn't look like it really have much impact. But what happens, we go to the Bestigor men-at-arm battle, and Bestigors just tear them up, of course. By the time we're done, they're not steadfast, and we easily beat them. And then we look at how we're going to pursue. Now, the way that everybody plays it around here, and the way that we read the rules, is you flee and pursue from center to center. And because I'm in a horde formation and my center is far left of his, that arrow shows how he flees, and then I line up to that arrow, and when that happens, it looks like that. So we ran down the men-at-arms and got a free rear charge into the Grail Relique. And it's very important to me to say that that's not me arguing that rule. That's how people play it. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's straight out of the rule book, and you don't see that come into effect too often when you have like-sized units butting head-to-head against each other. But when you have, Bretonnia is a really good example. If you have a lance hit the right side of a flank, or the right side of a horde, not in the flank, but in the front, on the right-hand side or the left-hand side, an extreme left or right, then when they break and overrun, you're going to draw a line from center of the knight unit to the center of the victim, and that's the direction that everybody flees and pursues. So it can kind of skew the battlefield from what you expected, because I thought when I was like, oh, well, we'll just do the Bestigor unit because it's not going to make any difference. If I fled, well, they're just going to go off into somewhere off on the left-hand side of the field, and it won't have an effect on the middle of me breaking that Beastmen Gore unit with the BSB in it. But as you can see, it really did turn the tables, because now I have Bestigors within range of a BSB to get Primal Fury in the back with great weapons. So I'm in loads of trouble. And my Knights, remember, they're at weapon skill 1, so they're not going to be able to dish out a lot of pain to kind of counteract all the damage that those Bestigors are going to do to my peasants.
Yeah, and not only do I get all those attacks, but now I have a charge and a rear bonus, which is very, very helpful. So what happened after combat is we just had so much static combat res, not static, but so much combat res from wounds that the Beastmen won the combat. And so you can see the men-at-arms fleeing. And again, look at them. They didn't flee directly away from the Bestigor. They fled at an angle that was center to center. And his knights fled, and they bounced through my unit of Gores that were protecting my my spellcasters and bounced right off the table. And that was his general and all his points. Yeah, so that hurt. So it looked like this. We went ahead and rolled the dice in the middle, but I mean, I just tore him up, and the game was pretty easily to the Beastmen at that point. So, MB, you want to offer any concluding thoughts before I do mine?
It's just one dumb mistake begets another, because I think it was kind of a screw up to charge with the Curse of Honor here, taking so many dangerous terrains, but then it was also my goof up to not think about that combat on the left-hand side for 2 more seconds and be like, you know what, if I break, he's going to pursue at this angle and rear charge, and then I'm going to lose the game because of it. So it's just one of those things where you need to look, for an extra second or two before you make a rash decision, and it ends up costing you the game. I had a lot of fun. The whole purpose of the game, like we said at the beginning, was to showcase weapon skill 3 on peasants and devastating charge on knights. And I don't think the devastating charge was accurately shown to like what kind of potential and what kind of limitations, because it sounds nasty, but you charge a unit of 12 knights with devastating charge, you're going to get 20 strength 5 attacks. And even if you hit and wound every single time, you might not still break an enemy steadfast, depending on how many guys they've got. So we might try another game that has those same experimental kind of playtest rules with them. But that's all I've got. I had a lot of fun, and look to playing more games like this in the future.
Yeah, it was fun. And in conclusion, I mean, one thing I would say is it's obvious MP played a much, much better game than I did. He had me surrounded. He had the game to rights, and yeah, I just got lucky. But you know what? Sometimes it's better be lucky than good. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed it.